Splendid. And in theory, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I think we're live. We're using the new fancy YouTube Go Live button that you get on the top of YouTube. So we're not doing this through OBS or any of the other software or anything that we do. So if this doesn't work, blame YouTube. But I can see there are plenty of people already arriving in the chat. Hello to everybody who's arriving in the chat. How are we all? Our plan for this evening, whether you're watching, well, if you're watching this live or watching it on replay, there'll be slightly different plans. But this Q&A, this video is going to stay on here as today's video. That's why we're doing it at 5 o'clock. Look how fast that chat is moving. That is insane. It's just
away from me. So.
It's mad. But yeah, this is going to be today's video. We're going to stay online probably for, I don't know, half hour or so.
I'm not eating today.
Yeah, we've got to have our dinner at some point because then we're back on Twitch later, finishing off our game that we started playing last night. But people have been asking us to do a live Q&A for ages. We haven't done one probably since before Christmas, I don't think. It was the last time we did a live Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
But Andy's at his respite care this weekend, as you'll find out on tomorrow's vlog, because the stuff that happened yesterday is coming out tomorrow because it's basically allowed us to not get dressed today. We're completely naked from the waist down. No, we've had a very lazy day and it's been awesome. So we've done no filming. I've had a lazy day. She's been doing uni work. But we are going to be doing you at me in them and I will do my very best to see them. But
I have a question.
You have a question?
Do you have that there all the time?
What, the microphone?
Mic, yeah.
Well, it moves around. It goes where I want it.
Where do you play games?
Here.
Yeah, but where? Which one?
I have Football Manager on that screen, but if I play anything else, it's on the TV. Why?
Because that'd be in the way.
Oh no, this is brilliant for you. Like if I'm playing on the Xbox or the PlayStation, I move the mic to here and just turn to the side slightly. It's fine. Right, here we go. So we've got some questions already starting to come in. Hello, I'm autistic. How should I deal with my anger problems? It's very it's very difficult for us as people who aren't autistic. We know how we try and help Andy deal with his. And it really just comes down to trying to give him methods for trying to stay calm. We actually got some new stuff today, which we're going to be trying out with him. A company whose name I forget, we'll do it properly on the vlog at some point, but they've sent us a pack of 3 compression vests to try with him that basically will have constant compression over his body, which is supposedly supposed to help him stay calm. Yeah, for Andy, when he's getting angry, he just tries to remove himself from the situation. So I would say if you're in a situation where you can recognize that you're starting to get angry and it might get out of control, try and remove yourself from that situation. That would be my suggestion.
Well, yeah, and with Andy, I would hold him. So like really hold him, or he would, like Kev said, would retreat into, he used to go into a cupboard.
Yeah. He's got a built-in wardrobe in his bedroom. It's safe space at school, anywhere where he can, and it's his way of coping and just shutting himself off from the situation.
He's just that's what he would need to do. So
exactly. I am going to do another question in a second. I can see loads and loads are coming in. Can I ask as well, if you are in the stream, if you give it a thumbs up? I know it's a bit early to claim that you're going to be liking the video, but a thumbs up now makes it easier for people to find, so we get more people in. Right, let's pick another one. I have problems. That's not a question. If you could change one thing about Andy, what would it be? Oh,
his hair length.
Well, I think that one is one of the ones that is changeable. We could give him a haircut.
But
you wouldn't change a thing about him.
He's rude.
Yeah, I know. There's
there's
always a few little bits and pieces. They're little niggles. Yeah, it would be nice if he ate a broader diet. It would be nice if he used the toilet properly. It would be nice if he let us have his haircut. It would be nice if, I don't know, he enjoyed going swimming. There's loads of
every child.
There's loads of little things, but
every child is different.
There's nothing that is actually properly changeable that we would set out there to try and make him into a different person. There's just little things. All people have little things that they like to work on. We're both trying to lose weight at the moment. You know, we're always working on little things and trying to make improvements, aren't we? Can we see Andy? Not right now because he's not here. How did you deal with Andy getting diagnosed / how did you react? So this is going to be a question for you because I wasn't around when Andy was first diagnosed. How old was he when he was diagnosed?
2.5, 3. It was like, so he was born in 2004. It was just before 2007, so he would have been about 2. And we went through all these things with an agency called Portage, and they said suspected autism. When I didn't know what it meant. I was 19 years old, and then I went to a pediatrician, and they said it, gave me some leaflets, and showed me the door, and that was it. And I was like, okay, what now? And that was it.
So how did you react? What did you go? What did you go home and do that night?
Just looked after him.
So there wasn't like a thought process. I'm drilling on this because I'm going to try and drill you on this in a couple of days as well when we make that video I talked about in yesterday's vlog.
I walked in there with the same kid. I walked out with the same kid.
So there wasn't a moment where you just sort of broke down in tears. I can't believe he's got autism, or was it a shock? Were you expecting the diagnosis?
I wasn't expecting anything. I was just like, this is my child. They want to put a label on it. Fine for their books. But to me, he was Andy, and I didn't care. Like you go through the things of, did I do something? But then you read, and I didn't do anything wrong when I was pregnant with him. So just happens.
Splendid. When did Andy start referring to me as Dad, and was it a difficult transition for him? You were. I remember thinking at the time that you were a bit of a nutter for this because
I didn't mind. He didn't know.
I mean, it was very early on. We'd probably only been together a couple of weeks, maybe a month.
But you'd been there every day.
I know, but at the time, you said, did we even discuss it, or did you just tell him to start calling me Daddy?
No, I think we discussed it, but because the girls were.
That's probably why we did it, yeah, because that way it didn't get confusing for him. I mean, he did call me Kevin for a little while, and when he's annoyed with me now, if he's annoyed, like if I'm tapping my foot and it's irritating him, he'll still call me Kevin, but most of the time I'm Dad or Daddy. Yeah, I think it is exactly that. When you're telling me off, that's what you call me. So when he's telling me off, he calls me that as well. But it was really early on, and he didn't seem to struggle with it at all. It was just one of those things. If someone tells him that that's what someone's name is, well, that's what their name is.
Because we would be around the girls and they'd be calling you Dad, he's going to hear that. And he used to do that echo thing.
Yeah.
Whereas whatever everybody would say, he would say it back. So it was just easier for him to do that than having... Because the girls were small as well. Amy was what?
Amy was... So it was just about 6 years ago now. I think when we first made contact with each other, when I picked you out of the catalogue, we're coming up to the 6-year anniversary of me doing that. So if Amy's 11 now, Amy would have been 5 at the time.
Well, it was before June, so she's like 4, I think.
Well, no, because she's 11 now.
Oh, okay.
And if it was 6 years ago, she would have been 5.
Well, she's 12 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Reminder to you, if you're in the chat and you want us to answer your question, make sure that you tag me in it, because then it flashes up in red on my screen. If it doesn't flash up in red with over 200 of you chatting, the chances of me seeing a question, if it isn't directed straight at me, are very, very slim. So I'm just literally, each time I go back to the chat to pick a question, I'm going to pick the nearest one that's got red on it. So if I miss your question, feel free to ask it again in a couple of minutes. Try to avoid just spamming the chat, because the new YouTube streaming system is very clever, and it just edits out spam before we even see it. It's like there's a moderator already working in there. So we're only looking at what's called the top chat. If anyone is aggressive or insulting or repetitive or spam, we don't even see it. It doesn't even come up on our screen. So you have to be very careful hitting that sweet spot between trying to get us to see your question and not spamming. Broken 270. This is a random super chat. Thank you for your random super chat. That's much appreciated. Right. Daniel says, what are the goals for the next few months on the channel? That's a really difficult thing to discuss at the moment, because there's some exciting stuff going on behind the scenes that I can't. I don't know. Can I talk about it? Should I talk about it? I think it's probably okay to talk about now, isn't it?
I think it's a separate video.
Yeah, very, very briefly, I had an email from the PR manager of YouTube in the UK the other day. It was on the vlog where I said, if something really cool happens in a couple of weeks, this is when I found out about it. Well, just then I got the first contact from them, because they want to do something around World Autism Day with us. And nothing has come of it yet, but the general gist of it, we've gone back and forth a few times, and the general gist is they're offering me out to mainstream media to go and talk to them as part of World Autism Day on the 2nd of April. So if something comes from that, then our goals for the channel are very, very different for if nothing comes from that. Because, I mean, as an example, and this isn't me giving you secret behind the scenes stuff, no contact has been made with any media organisation just yet. But let's just say I'm sat there on BBC Breakfast News on Monday, the 2nd of April. I would expect to hit 100,000 subscribers sometime in that month, probably. But if I'm not, then we just carry on as normal and we keep aiming for 100,000 at the end of the year, which has been the goal all along. There's a couple of other things bubbling along in the background as well, but as Anna says, that's something we can discuss on a different video because it will bore her. She's heard about it so many times already. What do
goals for Andy?
Goals for Andy. Well, they said goals for the channel.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, but we can do. I mean, goals for Andy. We can do that question as well, even if no one's asked it. What are your goals for Andy for the next few months? I think food is a massive thing.
Everything that we have.
What
because
food?
We used to do it, and he just took it away. But now he's being willing.
Yeah, he's trying so much more food now, and I genuinely think, I know we've talked about food breakthroughs a couple of times, but I think in 6 months' time we'll look back at these supposed breakthroughs and they just weren't, because I think the breakthrough is coming. I think there's going to be a time, probably in the next 6 months or so, where he eats a full meal with us. I don't know what that meal will be.
We're bribing him, aren't we?
Because he really wants to play Burnout Paradise every evening at the moment. He doesn't get to play Burnout Paradise unless he has a bite of dinner.
Yeah,
which is working. We finally found a thing that he wants more than he doesn't want to eat.
Well, he came in last night, from school. He knew he was going to Haven, but wanted to go on Burnout first. But we didn't have time. We didn't allocate that time, so he couldn't. But tomorrow he'll come home, and that's what he'll do.
Exactly.
His habit.
How does Andy cope with puberty? There's a question. There's a great question. I mean, we think he is going through it, don't we?
Oh, yes.
Without getting too stuck into the details. There's some changes going on. I guess he doesn't really know what's going on. He hasn't started growing any facial hair yet. So goodness, I mean, the lad doesn't like having his hair cut. I have no idea. He's just going to have a beard. I mean, there's no way. There's been one time he's had a haircut where he didn't need pinning down for it.
Because he got an iPad.
Yeah, and we can't give him an iPad every time he needs to have a shave. So if it comes to the point where he'll only agree to it if he's pinned down, and he won't agree to it, he has to be pinned down. There's no way I could safely feel sort of comfortable pinning him down and taking a blade to his face. So I think he'll probably just have a beard, or one of those terrible little teenage beards. It's just bum fluff,
it will be,
patches of bum fluff here and there. You've seen what his hair is like, but other than that, the same way most teenagers do. He's exploring things and experimenting with stuff. I think that's a good way of putting it, isn't it?
Just leave him alone.
How is Anna finding her uni course? I'm currently second year forensic science at Lincoln Uni and originally from Bourne. That's Aaron Bailey. How are you finding your course?
It's all right. The work's a bit annoying.
it's all right, but the work's annoying.
It's not. It's just we had this. I've got photography too, and the way they've told us to submit it is just silly, and it's done like 3 hours today, and it doesn't work. But they want everyone to do the same. Apart from
to make it easier to mark, isn't it? If it all comes in the same format. No, I know, but you're one person. The lecturer's got 20 of them to mark.
No, he's got 16.
Still more than your one, isn't it? I'm looking at it from a teacher point of view. I can see why they want it all coming in the same format, because otherwise it's just unmanageable.
The weird thing is we leave the week before that's in. So it's in after we've officially finished, which is weird. But I've done one assignment for this semester, so that's out of the way. And now I've just got 7 exams.
7 exams
with my college as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then 2 written assignments, a lab report. It's all fun and games.
One mention for people who are asking for shout outs in the chat. We're not doing shout outs. There's nearly 300 people watching. If everyone got a shout out, it would literally be us just sat here reading names. If you want us to mention your name, the best way is to ask an insightful question that gets answered, because then we'll say your name as part of answering the question. So Train Spotter wants to know, what's the best thing about Andy?
His laugh, his giggles.
There is a brilliant moment that's going to be on tomorrow's vlog of him just trying to force feed Anna a McDonald's burger bun, and it happened yesterday, and he's just laughing. I think the fact that he he will unashamedly have fun and doesn't get embarrassed and just doesn't care. We're in the middle of McDonald's and he's just doing what he wants to do and loving every minute of it. And
shoes off,
that kind of attitude, a lot of people could learn a lot from. Don't care. Do what you want and don't care what other people think of you. Obviously there is a line, and if he crosses the line we pull him back in again, but as long as he's not hurting anybody, if he's having fun and doing what he wants to do, the fact that he just doesn't care what anyone thinks of him while he's doing it, that's a brilliant quality for anybody to have. Fireball 569 wants to know, do we think Andy will ever move out?
No.
See, I think he has to. Not because we're going to force him to, but I think, and this conversation always gets Anna a bit upset. So brace yourself if she has to hide from the camera for a minute. But he's going to outlive us. We can't have him living with us until he's 60. And then age 60, we die and he has to figure out what to do age 60. It's the fairest thing for him is to help him become as independent as he possibly can. Do I ever think he's going to have his own house, his own car, and go out to work every day and have a wife and kids? Probably not. But yeah, he could have any one of those things or any combination of those things. Yeah, absolutely. But I think as soon as he's finished with school, it would be just really irresponsible of us just to let him just sit at home and do nothing. I think we have to continue to push his boundaries, whether that's helping him move out into some kind of assisted living situation, or whether it's getting a little granny flat for him as part of where we're living, or whether that's helping him go and get a part-time job so at least he's out and about during the day, and maybe converting the garage for him to have a little flat. I don't know, there's so many different options and we really don't know what it's going to be until the time comes. But the one thing I'm really keen for us not to do is get into a situation where he's reliant on us his entire life and then absolutely ruined when we die.
I know.
Because that's just cruel, just really cruel. Katie Elise has done a super chat for £5. Thank you very much. How did I come up with the t-shirt hoodie design? I love mine. I've basically been living in it the past week or two. Love you guys. Right behind this t-shirt is one she's talking about, by the way, available from lollujo.fm/store for every one of these sold. £5 is donated to the National Autistic Society, and it's close to £250 we've raised from through these shirts so far, I think, which is awesome. But coming up for the design, there's basically 2 steps to the process. I sat there for a couple of weeks Googling quotes to do with autism, reading loads of quotes and just trying to get an idea of which ones felt right to me, which ones described Andy, which ones fitted our channel. And I kept coming back to different is not broken. It's not a phrase we invented, it's a phrase that is out there, and I think it applied really well to what we were trying to do. And then I just looked around for fonts. I mean, it's literally just a phrase written in a nice font, so there's not much design that's gone into it. I'm not very artistic.
He's got his at respite.
Yeah, Andy's wearing his today as well, which is awesome. I think I just saw Sophie's also done a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Sophie Lawrence, as well, for your super chat. If I've missed any super chats, I'm a monster, but they don't stay on screen for very long.
It's silly how they have that set up. They should have like a different one.
Well, they do. They sit at the top for a little while, but if we're deep into a question, we won't necessarily see it. Can you move your lights a bit because your face looks really pale? No. Not while we're streaming.
I'm sitting there thinking, God, I look really pale.
Yeah,
I've got so much bronzer on.
A lot of it is, I mean, it's purely because the lights are set up for me being sat in the middle and then being able to adjust it in post, because I want to get as much light on the situation as possible. Plus, I usually use a proper camera. This is a webcam, and I haven't adjusted the lighting in here at all. Because
can you turn them down?
No. Oh, I could turn them on to half strength, but then it's properly dark in here if I do that. Emma Louise says, would Andy like a job? I don't think he really knows what the concept of job is, does he?
He knows you go out for when you're not here, if you're at work.
Yeah, well, I am. But I don't think he understands that job or work is something that he might do one day.
He just wants to ring bells and ride.
Yeah, he just wants to do what he wants to do every day. I don't know. If he found something he loved doing, he'd want to do it. But I don't think he'd go out and do something he didn't enjoy just for money. I don't think you could get him, I don't know, give me an example of a job. I don't think you can get him making burgers in McDonald's, for example. But could he be the guy operating the security camera at the front of Tesco when you go in there? he might enjoy doing that. That might be something he could do. Could he be a tram driver or a conductor on a tram or a ticket man at the tube or something? Yeah, he could do any of that probably because he'd enjoy doing
diverse,
it.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
You have to give everyone a chance.
But I don't think he understands the concept of going out to get a job to earn money to buy things.
No, because anything he wants, he goes, "Mummy, do it."
Yeah,
and
that's something we are working on with him. But we can show him the mechanics of how to exchange money for goods and services. But the whole concept of it is a really difficult concept.
This is we try to get across to somebody. We don't always have money, and the fact that he's obsessive when we pay for stuff, we have to be careful because a few times he's just blurted out my number as I'm putting it in. Yeah. So I have to use my phone now. So
Amy Elsie wants to know how old we all are. So I'm 23.
So it means I'm 18.
No, I'm 35, and you're what?
32.
And Andy is 13.
Yes.
Lucy's 16.
Yes.
Amy is 11. Dave is 4. 5. That's how old we all are. Mad Monkey Forever says, hello, Kev. Have you ever thought of going to Belgium with Andy? I've been there lots. Double-decker trains and lots of churches.
Double-decker trains?
When on the way there.
What is that noise?
It's the heater down here. Okay. I've been to Belgium a few times. I love Belgium. I've never thought of taking Andy there because at the moment we're building up to a holiday, and I don't know if or when it'll ever happen. But you saw last summer we had the one night away in the tent, the night of misery that he enjoyed. I had a miserable time, but that's the closest we've ever got to taking him on a holiday.
He likes day trips because he's asking to go to Legoland. He also wants to go to Disney. Don't know how we're going to pull that one off, but that's his two things he wants to do. Because he sees it, he wants it, and I think he's just been looking at the videos of Legoland and now wants to go again. So.
Well, we've talked before, haven't we, with regard to Disney, and I know it can make me sound like a little bit of a monster, but I've talked a few times about one of the main motivations behind growing the channel as much as we possibly can is that realistically, we're probably not going to be able to afford to go to Disney while he's young enough to enjoy it. But if we had 200,000 subscribers, someone might pay for us to go. Not like one of you lot, but Disney themselves might invite us to come there to make a video about it, or a travel company might invite us to go and make a video. And I think it's a route towards getting something like that done. And if that makes me
safe.
I don't think we could. I don't think. I mean, remember, we're still on a massively reduced income to where we were last year, and you've still got 2 years left at university. Andy's already 13, so add another 2 years onto that, he's 15. Realistically, in your first year of work, you're still not going to be on a lot of money. So we're talking 5-6 years in the future before we're going to be having a realistic income to be able to afford to do it, unless the channels grow enough to either be able to afford it ourselves or to get a company who pay for us to do it. And I don't see, I mean, if you're watching from Disney, imagine the positive promotion from paying for Andy to go there for 2 nights and enjoy staying in your hotel and look at all your autism friendly features. We make a couple of cracking videos about it. But our Legoland video has got 100,000 views. True. That's massive. If you search for Legoland on YouTube, that's one of the first videos you see, and it's a massively positive video about how brilliant Legoland is for children with autism. So you never know. One day. Tig wants to know, what's Anna's favourite game of all time? Oh, this is going to be a long one.
Fallout.
Which one?
New Vegas.
Really? The worst one of the modern ones? Both 3 and actually 4 wasn't better than that. Fallout 3 was the best of the the new style Fallout.
I prefer the deal. But then Borderlands. Oh, I don't know. Franchises. Just I don't know.
Shaz wants to know, how has respite benefited us all?
Don't
mess around with my swapsies. She's got my swapsies. Yeah, we had a nice lie-in this morning. Which
8 a.m.
I was in bed till like 11.
I know you were because you're lazy.
But again, that might seem like just a normal weekend to some people.
No, it's not.
But for us, I could count. I know people say I could count on one hand. I could probably count on one finger the amount of times in the 6 years we've known each other I've been able to sleep until 11 o'clock. I mean, I think this is, if not the only time, one of the only times. No, I didn't sleep in until 11 o'clock. She's such a liar.
You did.
But allowing us to be able to do stuff like have a sleep in. Today we've done nothing. We haven't left the house. And
don't need to.
yeah, we haven't done anything at all, and it's been brilliant. But also it allows us, we've done lots of stuff with the girls when they've been around, when we've been on respite weekends. We've had trips to London, we've gone to theme parks with them, which is stuff we weren't able to do before. This time last year we were in Lincoln, living the high life in Lincoln.
Making me walk uphill.
But we'd never had just weekends away that weren't for a purpose. We just went away just to go and spend some time together somewhere else, which is something, again, for a normal couple, you might think that's something you can just do. But for us, it's not. We can't. I mean, this concept of date night that we hear some couples have, that's not something we could ever do, because there is no one who can babysit Andy to get.
Well, there is, but
it's your mum who is 50 miles away, and we have to get her here on the train. And so, just to get her here to babysit, it's cost 40 quid plus 2 days of travel for her.
Yeah,
before we've even left the house. And respite has meant that we can go out for dinner sometimes and go to the cinema, and it's really cool.
Or do nothing.
Exactly. Bradley, thank you for the super chat. The actual Zlatan Ibrahimovic presumably has said, will you be doing more revision videos? I'm currently in year 11 and it'll be helpful. Yes, I will be. Every Wednesday there's going to be something to do with revision out between now and GCSE starting in May. Not just to plug the book. But no, I think it's an area of expertise. It would be silly not to share my knowledge. Train spotting southeast. Have you thought taking Andy to Steam Railway near you, because it's good for autism?
You keep
for
telling
sounds.
me.
I do. Neen Valley Railway near us would be brilliant for Andy.
But we never do.
No, I don't really know why we don't. I mean, I think it's because it doesn't run all the time. And when it does run, it's mega, mega busy.
Yeah.
And he would hate that if he didn't know what he was going for. I think once he'd been once he'd enjoy it again. But it's quite expensive. And they do it for bonfire night. They do a really cool thing where you can go out to the steam train station, get on an old steam train, ride into where the fair and the bonfire and the firework display and all that is. And he likes fairs. He likes fireworks.
Yeah.
So we could potentially do it for something like that. Ideally, what he needs, though, to really be able to enjoy that is for a couple of weeks before, just to be able to turn up, get straight on a train and enjoy the experience. And I don't think it really works like that. Kai Weiser wants to know, how did Andy handle moving house?
Gone with it, didn't he?
Yeah, he just absolutely took it in his stride. No problem at all with it, I don't think.
He does ask to go back home, like his first home. Now and again, but
I think that's more for the stuff that's there than because he necessarily misses that house, though. He wants to be able to go to the trams. He wants to be able to see the windmill and the block of flats behind the house. And he probably would enjoy a couple of days where I wasn't around. I mean, next weekend when I'm at Insomnia, that's something that is very rarely happened. I don't often go away without you. No, but he's going to get a couple of days alone with you in the house. And I imagine he's going to love that.
Well, we just get on with it.
Yeah, that's going to be like a dream weekend for him. It's going to be like old times. Especially if I took Dave with me as well, he'd be having a whale of a time.
Dave's my friend, so he has to get on with him.
Aidan says, would you ever move to a different country?
Not right now.
I would move this instant. I would get in the back of the car and onto a plane right now.
If you were taking all the kids.
Yeah, we would.
All of them, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, with Amy being 11 and only living with us half the time, the calendar that I've had in my head since the day me and her mum split up has been wait until she's 18. Lucy will be long gone by then. Wait until Amy's 18. And at that point, I go and do the life that I wanted when I was a kid, but it never really happened. And that is,
children.
Yeah, absolutely. I had Lucy when I was 19. So I never got to do the traveling around the world, living out of a suitcase thing, which really, really appeals to me. I would love to just go and get a one-way ticket to anywhere from the nearest airport and figure out the rest on my way. It would be amazing.
We take through with us.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, we would. I think if I end up dying without ever living in America, I'll be seriously miffed.
You'll be miffed.
I will be. Tomo wants to know, do you think Andy will ever find a partner? Has he shown any interest in that sort of stuff? Just wondered. Depends what you count as that sort of stuff. He is familiar with certain sensations. I don't think he necessarily associates those sensations with the ladies.
Though he does look at certain ladies.
He does. His TA at school he's very, very, very fond of and talks about her a lot. Like very, very fond of. I don't know, maybe.
I've been through his pictures on his iPad and they're interesting.
Really? I haven't seen these. This feels like a video.
No. We're not, no.
Has he got nudie pics on his iPad?
No, but they're just interesting.
Okay.
I've deleted some because I think they're inappropriate.
Wow. I didn't know anything about this. How am I only finding out about this now?
I'm not gonna tell you.
What? You're telling this lot?
But yes, I have found pictures that I have deemed inappropriate. I know he's 13, but
wow,
we live with girls and
that's interesting. So yes, he probably will.
Maybe.
I think we're probably about halfway through the stream. Realistically, we'll probably go to about 6 o'clock because then we're going to have our dinner and then we're going to be on Twitch later on, finishing off A Way Out, which is the game we were playing last night, and it is super fun. You should come over and watch us on Twitch later on.
There's a lot of swearing.
There is a lot of swearing.
Not from us.
So if you're over 15, Twitch Lollujo FM, probably from about, I don't know, 7:30, 8-ish by the time we've had dinner, maybe a little bit earlier. We want to finish the game tonight. It won't be later. We've got 4 hours left to go. We've got to finish it tonight.
Okay.
So early-ish. But if you are enjoying the stream so far, if you could leave a thumbs up on there for us, they are massively, massively helpful. The more people who can leave a thumbs up while the stream is live, the more people then find us and get the opportunity to ask questions live. So if you could whack a thumbs up on there, that would be amazing. Did you see that just leap up by 30, 40 thumbs ups, just like that? You lot are brilliant. Thank you. Emma Louise wants to know, when's Andy's birthday?
July.
Tig wants to know, do we have any plans to get Andy to London? I mean, we tried. No. We tried to the other week, and did we actually have any clips of him saying no? I can't remember if we did or not.
Possibly, where he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, we really tried. We had tickets to Dinosaurs at the National History Museum. Dinosaurs. So it's seeing the dinosaurs at dawn. They open the museum once a month. They open the museum 2 years early, just for children with autism, to have the chance to go and look around without there being loads of people there. And we had tickets for that. But we just couldn't convince him to do it. So we just had to let him know we weren't able to come.
Not making him
go
to a busy place.
Aidan wants to know, how long does it take to edit the vlogs? It depends. If it's a day where the bulk of it is me sat in front of this talking, 20 minutes, half an hour. If it's a day when we've gone out somewhere and there's lots of B-roll and time lapses and drone footage and all that kind of stuff, it can take 3 or 4 hours. It really depends on the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've left you in the morning, still doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah, I usually start doing it about 7:30, and then sometimes I'm finished before Anna even leaves the house at 8, and sometimes I'm still going at 10 o'clock. So
it's just lazy.
I'm lazy. Where did we get to? Kai says, how would Andy react to the tube? We don't know. He'd probably like it because it's a lot like trams. Noise? We don't know. It's a lot like trams. He'd probably like it, but there's just no way of knowing until we see him experience it for the first time.
We have to take him once. He'll hate it, and then he'll want to go again. He has a thing. Like with respite, the first couple of times he hated it, but then he went in there yesterday, picked up a traffic light, and went to bed. That's genuinely what he did. So
Elliot Ragg, sorry, the prize has moved on.
What?
He says he's the guy who won the giveaway, but he had 8 days to claim it and didn't, so I gave it to somebody else. My apologies, but you needed to email me your address. We did talk about it on the vlog quite a few times, so someone else has won it now. My apologies. Sophie wants to know, have you ever used Chewy Gum with Andy?
Yep, Chewy Gem.
Oh, Chewy Gem.
Yeah.
What's Chewy Gem?
It's a remote control. Play Chewy.
Oh, yeah, a Chewy toy. I get you. I understand now.
Yeah, we've had 2 of them. Issues. They're not indestructible like they say. He destroys them constantly, and but then that must mean his teeth are all right.
Yeah, his teeth are fine. The dentist says his teeth are fine, don't they? So
we haven't been for a while.
We've got an appointment coming soon, I think, hopefully. Reminder as well, if you've got a question for us, make sure you tag me into the question. If you haven't got the bright red Kevin Chapman thing all over the question. I'm probably not going to see it. Yeah, there's literally hundreds of people chatting at the moment, and it's quite hard to keep up with. Wrestling Ferrara says, what happened to the wrestling channel? Realistically, it was too much work for me. The videos that I was making weren't very good, and they weren't getting any views. The channel got demonetized as part of the demonetization cull, so I didn't even have a business reason to do it anymore. But I've talked to a couple of people about this over the last few days in comments and on Twitter. It just got to the point where when everything was still at startup phase, it's quite easy to have lots and lots of plates spinning. But as stuff starts to grow, it becomes much harder to have different things on the go. Because if you think about it, in addition to all the stuff that I do with Andy, I'm also trying to run 2 full-time YouTube channels and a full-time Twitch channel, basically, at the moment. So that's stuff that... Are you messing with my cards
now? I need
now?
Something to mess with.
Have a pen.
No, it's yours.
That's like... It's like 3 full-time jobs. And I was saying to someone the other day that I don't know how long I'll be able to continue 2 daily Football Manager series, streaming 3 times a week, doing daily vlogs, and whatever else I get into, because just going through the comments every day now takes, I mean, it can take 2 hours to go through the comments on each channel, which is, it's a lot of work. Hobbies we don't know about.
He doesn't mind it now as much as he used to.
Yeah, my recollections of any time we've taken him swimming are him just clinging around your neck and refusing to get involved. No, however, he likes the sea.
He likes the Alton Towers one.
Yeah. He didn't like the water slide at Alton Towers Water Park, but he liked sitting in a hot tub. I think he's a big fan of hot tubs, which he gets to do at school now.
And he likes to have hot baths. I used to make them coldish, like warmish, coldish, but now he tells me they have to be hot, so they're hot now, and he likes them. What else does he like to do?
I don't think there's anything he likes to do that we don't share on the vlog. We share almost everything, don't we?
Except for like cuddles in bed. That's about it, really.
The chat suddenly just moved very quickly. I completely lost the question I was looking at. Right, Ryan McPherson says, how did Andy deal with the initial side effects of, and the question has disappeared. I'm going to assume you were asking his medication. There we go. The initial side effects of Prozac. I'm on something similar, and the initial side effects turn me into a zombie.
For the first few weeks, all he would do was sleep.
Yeah, he kind of did go into a zombie for a little while, didn't he?
But then after a few weeks, it was what you see on the channel.
Yeah, I think he needed that zombie phase, because he'd got himself into such a self-destructive cycle where he hated everything.
Even me.
Yeah, and he was having violent outbursts. He was completely uncooperative. He wasn't eating. His sleep pattern was all over the place, and I think he needed that period of literally just sleeping for like 16 to 18 hours a day every day for a couple of weeks, and just to reset himself
as well,
and when he came out the other side of it, he was like a different kid. So yeah, it was probably a little bit rubbish at the time. Whether it was as rubbish as what he was going through before he was on the medication, I would suggest probably the zombie stuff was beneficial to just hating everything.
Though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's the whole point of it. It's supposed to give him time to process what's going on around him.
But it will make you feel like that for a while. But it'll make you feel better coming out of, like, being on it after a while.
Charlotte Hillary says, is autism linked to depression, and has it ever impacted Andy's lifestyle? It's depression and anxiety are common comorbids of autism, is what I understand it to be. So you don't become depressed because you have autism.
You don't get autism being depressed.
Yeah, but if you have autism, having depression is quite common, and anxiety is quite common.
He doesn't have Prozac for depression. The
Prozac's for anxiety. I think we're all agreed that there was some depression as well, and it's definitely helped him with that. And yeah, it massively impacted his lifestyle. Before he was on the medication, both you and him were basically trapped in the house for a year and a half.
Well, he used to go out. I used to take him out every day. But then again,
you were proper shut-ins for at least 6 months, though. You weren't able to go anywhere. You couldn't even take him to the shops. So, yeah, it massively impacted his life. And without that medical intervention, it's terrifying to think where we might be right now, because he's been on the medication for nearly a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen over the course of the vlogs just how much his life has changed in that year. But I think if he'd had another year living the way he was, it's a horrible thing to think about, but I don't know if he'd still be living with us, because I don't know if, you know, how close was he to really hurting you, or to pushing one of the girls down the stairs, or to hurting himself really badly. I mean, I'm not saying we would have given him up, but the social worker was already involved at that point. If he'd have seriously injured himself or one of us,
I was getting there.
I think he would probably be in care now. So it's
not forever.
No, but while they decided what to do to help him through it.
But we don't have to think about that.
Exactly, because the medication worked wonders. Right, where do we get to? Apex PS wants to know, what's Andy's favourite thing to do at school? He likes the hot tub that they've got now.
Yeah.
He likes playing golf. He loves Google Maps.
Swing room.
Maths, and anything to do with ICT he really enjoys.
I think he likes most of it.
Yeah.
With school, they never put anything that he hasn't enjoyed, which annoys me. But I don't know. He goes every day, so he seems happy to be happy enough to be there, because we will let you know if he doesn't want to go. Bad Jokes FM says, has Andy watched any of the videos you've put up from his 2DS? Does he like them being on YouTube? Yes. He loves it, doesn't he? But he won't use his other one. I've tried to tell him, but he won't. Oh yeah, he won't use the new camera. I think, if anything, we've made a rod for our own backs by putting those videos on YouTube, because to his mind, they're absolutely fine. Yeah. They don't need to be better quality. Oh. He can see what's going on. And as far as he's concerned, the fact that they're now on YouTube is fantastic. He loves that. You've heard in some of the ones that he's recorded since the archive started going up, that he's treating them like proper YouTube videos now. He loves the fact they're on YouTube. He'll sit there, watch them. He'll come and show us Andy's camera. When we went out the other day, was it to Boston where he did one? We came home and he said, Andy's camera for daddy. So he wanted me to take his, I mean, this is completely new because he wouldn't even let us see the footage before, but he wanted me to take the SD card out, edit it together and put it on YouTube for him. So I'm hoping that I can get him more interested in the editing side of things. It would be nice if a year down the line he was starting to help with the editing, or was maybe doing some of his own editing. He's got a laptop he could edit on, and then he might see for himself that there's restrictions with using the 2DS, and I think he needs to make the decision to upgrade to some better kit. But he loves being a YouTuber. He loves it. Right, where did I get to? Chat's moving so fast again. Tig again, what is Anna's favorite music and what is Kev's favorite music? You like angry American women, don't you? Singing love songs or breakup songs, really. I like Christina, and I like Britney, and I like all those people who are the same. They're not the same. And like that CEO woman. My Spotify is perennially stuck in indie rock from like 2007. Angry Men. Yeah, Angry Men. So my favorite album of all time is Silent Alarm by Block Party. They're actually they're touring that full album later this year. Can we go and see Block Party? Does anyone want to come and see Block Party with me? They're touring the whole of Europe, just playing that album from start to finish. Yourself, but then when Christina comes, you have to come with me. Why? Because I get lost. I'll get lost. It's in Amsterdam. You're not going to Amsterdam. Curses. Right. Is that why you offered me to go there? No, that was for VidCon Europe. She won't come to VidCon Europe with me. She also won't come to Summer in the City with London with me. Do any of you go to Summer in the City? Would you like to see us at Summer in the City? What are we saying? Yeah. So I can take a PlayStation. It's also Play Expo London that weekend as well. So we could literally head down on the Friday morning. I could go and hang out at the Summer in the City Creators Day on the Friday while you play on your PlayStation in an Airbnb. And then Saturday and Sunday, we can move between Summer in the City to meet people, but also go over to Play Expo London, which is the same weekend, and just work between the two events. He wants to go and meet Barry. Because My Virgin Kitchen. I think he's probably my friend that I haven't met yet.
Dan Madkin. Why did I read that as Man Dadkin? Dan Madkin says, is Andy's sleeping pattern better? Do you still struggle to get him to sleep, or is he still tired some days?
He goes to sleep fine. Absolutely fine.
Sometimes too early, which then leads to problems.
That's when it's a problem, when he gets up at 4. And I look at him and I go, what are you doing?
Or even earlier sometimes, and then he will be super tired and he'll go to bed early again the next day. I think he just operates on like a 20-hour day rather than 24-hour day. If left to his own devices, his time asleep would just gradually rotate through the 24-hour period over the course of a couple of weeks, probably. Because if he gets up early, he goes to bed earlier, but then gets up earlier, then goes to bed earlier, and it just gradually works around to the point where when he was ill, he'd be awake all night, go to bed at 10 in the morning, wake up at 4 o'clock, and then be up until whenever again. And it was a total mess. So I think his body clock just works on a shorter cycle than ours does.
Yeah, it's fine.
Does Andy watch F1, or do either of us? No, that was Max. No. Right.
So he does like racing games.
Tearing Bore said, what's one Funko Pop you don't have that you'd love, regardless of price? The original superhero run, the Batman, Superman, the ones that are in the single digit numbering that cost an absolute fortune now. I'd like those.
A Simpson one through.
Or a Freddy Funko.
Oh, one of them.
I'd like a Freddy Funko.
But I can't find a Simpsons one.
The Simpson ones look a bit rubbish. We did see a Simpsons one at Comic-Con like 2 years ago. They had was it a Bart Simpson that was like 70 quid? And I think looking back now as a proper collector, because back then we were only in the early days of being into Funko Pops.
About 4 or 5.
But looking back now, I think I'd probably buy that for 70 quid. Because I think, 70 quid for that? That's an absolute bargain.
I wouldn't buy it for that. I'd give it to Rue.
Yeah. I always quite wanted a Sonic the Hedgehog one as well. I know it's not the rare, expensive Sonic, but it's still cool.
Your friend there, didn't I?
Yeah, it's still very cool. I like that. Aidan wants to know, what podcasts do we listen to? I listen to the Wrestling Observer podcast that I subscribe to and pay for, because they're brilliant, with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. They come out every day. There's like 2 or 3 new podcasts a day, so I literally just listen to them now.
I listen to Kotaku, Split Screen. I listen to Ladies of Elite. I listen to the UK. Where is it? Where are you? I have loads.
Basically, the answer is all the gaming ones. Anna listens to.
No, because I've got the UK True Crime Every Tuesday one.
That's a catchy title, isn't
it? Cranky Gamers. Yeah, so just a few.
Sophie says, do we have any Sherlock Funko Pops? There is, what's his brother's name? I forget his name. Mycroft. I've got a Mycroft somewhere. He'll be on there, I think. Mycroft Holmes is on there somewhere, but I don't know where. You can see Saul Goodman. He might actually be in a cupboard. I've perhaps not even got him out on display. I'm not that bothered by the Sherlock ones, to be honest.
We just like the program.
Yeah. Right. I'm 20 and have Asperger's. The chat's moving too fast again. Do you see Andy being able to live alone when he's older? We've already answered that one, actually, haven't we? I hear the Mature Gamer podcast is good. It is bad jokes. That's very wise of you. Catherine Gregory says, how does Andy cope with crowded places?
If he wants to be there, he'll cope with it.
Like Goose Fair.
Goose Fair is the maddest.
It's the busiest place he ever goes.
Thing ever, and it's fine. But then if we took him to town on a really busy day...
Well, the flip side of that is the Christmas fair at his school that we tried to take him into to have a look, and he just panicked. It was just like 10 stalls of little Christmas fair stuff, and it was almost a panic attack. But it was not close to as busy as Goose Fair was, and because he didn't want to do it, he couldn't cope with it at all. Jamie wants to know, do I listen to the True Geordie podcast? I do not. I'm not much of a True Geordie fan.
Who is he?
He's just big, angry Geordie who swears a lot. Okay. And I don't really like him. Charlotte Blue Jay, has Amy and Lucy's relationship changed with Andy? Since when? I mean, I don't really understand that question.
No, Lucy talks to him now and again when she feels like it.
Yeah.
It's just...
He's not that interested in them, is he?
No. Like, he'll sit in their room now and again and sit with them. But never
when Minecraft was big,
oh God,
he would insist that we all played Minecraft with him every night. We'd have all our devices playing Minecraft. and he loved that. But I think that was more for the fact that we were building stuff like roller coasters, and he used to love Lucy building him a Tesco supermarket with the sign and everything. And I had this like a log flume thing that I built for him that he loved. So I think it was more to do with the fact we were building cool stuff for him than he was interacting with us. There's a question that I keep seeing pop up that is never at the bottom when I want to answer it, but it's from, I forget who it's from, Adam, I think his name was. Do any of us ever get camera shy? I want to answer that question because I think you do. And I think the girls definitely do.
Sometimes I can't be bothered and I just want to sit in my pajamas with no makeup, because I won't come on camera if I don't have makeup on. I don't think I should reveal that side of me. Sometimes I want to chill out and not be having to think, oh, I have to go and do that now.
Whereas I'm never more comfortable than when I'm talking into a camera. I talked about this. If you've ever watched the Q&A that me and Loki Doki did at the Nottingham Football Manager event last year, I explained it on there. I think it's the only place I've ever explained it. But I did say to people who were there, because for a lot of people, we hadn't done any meeting people before we got on stage and did the Q&A. That was coming afterwards. And I did say on stage, right now, I will seem completely confident and happy because there's a camera pointing at me. If I'm out and about later around the museum and I'm holding the camera out vlogging, I will be confident and happy and we'll have a laugh and a joke. If I'm not holding the camera, I become the most socially awkward nerd in the history of the world. And I just can't keep a conversation going. It's weird. I think
we did.
Yeah, I don't know what it is though. It's clearly just, I think the camera is like Thor's hammer. It just gives me my strength and my confidence. And I don't know why. I don't really understand why that is, but if you spoke to anybody who I knew 10 years ago and told them, if they had not heard anything from me in the last 10 years and you tried to tell them what I do now for a living, they would not believe it was even possible. I used to I got fired from a telesales, well, not fired, but I was close to getting fired and I just walked out from a telesales job. Basically because I didn't like phoning people up and talking to them on the phone. I was kind of afraid to make the phone calls. I just didn't want to do it. And it felt really uncomfortable for me. So the fact that I now make a living through talking to people and talking into a camera, but I'm talking to people now.
Yeah, but you can't see them.
But when I do collaborations, I chat and I'm fine. Yeah. I don't know. I think I found my thing. I'm a natural in front of the camera.
It's not camera shy. It's like just when I've been out from like 8 till 6 and I come home, I don't want to be on, but fine.
The Milk Guzzler says, how do you deal with people heckling on the vlog? Does it bother you?
Everyone doesn't even
I don't notice that. The one the other day where we had the guys swearing at me and the kid jumping up behind me and stuff. It's water off a duck's back, largely because a lot of the time I don't even notice that it's happening. I'm so in the zone. And that might be why I get the camera confidence from, because it gives me something to focus on. So I mean, I've done that autism test on the channel before. We know we know there's bits going on. It's never diagnosed.
Well, it's like with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
When into autistic, it'll just walk through people. It won't.
I think when I'm vlogging, when I've got the camera out, I don't notice the rest of the world around me at all.
No, you lost me the other day.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on around me. I'm so focused on what I'm doing that it makes just being in and around the world so much easier. Aidan says, what comic books do I recommend? Oh, that's a rabbit hole that needs a whole hour-long show of itself to get done. I mean, what sort of thing are you after? Perhaps we need to have a chat on Twitter afterwards. If you've never ever touched a comic book before, and you want to try something out to see if you enjoy the medium. If you like superheroes, try Watchmen. If you don't like superheroes, try Preacher. There you go.
Really?
Yeah. Preacher is one of the best books ever written. It's superb. Where did we get to? Catherine Gregory says, where do you think Andy is on the spectrum? Now, this is something that we've talked about a few times on the channel, because I think this is a geographical difference, because in the UK, that's not a thing. No. You're either on it or you're not.
Yeah.
There is, we often get people say, how autistic is Andy? And our answer is, well, he's on the ASD spectrum. he has autism. That's how autistic he is. But there isn't degrees of autism, and it's not just because that's how they see it. It's because that's not even really how autism works. It's not one spectrum, one sliding scale. You could have someone with autism who's really, really comfortable in social situations but can't communicate. You might have someone who is a great talker but doesn't eat. I mean, here you go. Here's an example. I'm sure most of you watch the Fathering Autism channel as well as ours. Which kid's more autistic? One of them eats fine and doesn't talk. The other one talks fine and doesn't eat. Where's your criteria?
Yeah,
they're just different
I
kids.
watch their videos and I'm like, God, if Andy ate a pretzel, wow.
Yeah.
So but then I can have a chat. I can have a Andy chat with him.
So it's not even really one spectrum. He has autism. That's all it comes down to. Right, we've probably got time for maybe 2 or 3 more questions.
I am going to sneeze.
You sneeze away. Does Andy have any friends? The chat's scrolling so fast.
Any friends?
Does Andy have any friends at school? Hello from the land of gravy. That's Kai Weiser. I assume he means the north. Hello to the land of gravy. He has kids whose names he knows.
He talks about Connor or / Callum. I still miss which one he's saying, but I think he goes to Haven at the same time. Because like I told him he had Haven, and he was saying, I think it was Connor will be there.
There's a couple of kids who, I mean, the brilliant thing about his respite place is it's always the same kids going at the same time. So there's a group of 4 or 5 of them who get to hang out together in this awesome house once a month, which, as I've said a billion times before, it's got a trampoline built into the floor in front of the telly. I want to live there. And it's just imagine you're 13 years old and you get to go with a bunch of mates to this brilliant trampoline house once a month.
Yeah.
So
like
cool.
They have emergencies.
Yeah, carry on.
But it's mostly him, and there's a girl, and I think it's 3 boys and 1 girl. That's
someone just asked what day I'm going to Insomnia. I can't find the question anymore, but
Thursday. What are you doing Thursday?
Thursday is a secret.
Oh, okay.
Which will be it's not actually a secret. I'm going to go and see a company about a thing. You'll find out on Friday's vlog what I'm doing on Thursday, but I'm going to be at Insomnia on Saturday, just around the show floor. I've got to take my computer on Saturday to get it registered in the bring your own computer area. Yeah, it's next weekend. So I've got to take my computer on the Saturday, get it set up. But once that's set up, I then have free reign of the show floor on the Saturday. So I'll be wandering around Insomnia for most of Saturday, probably.
And I'll be in Hope County.
Yeah, she'll be playing Far Cry 5. On the Sunday, I'll be in the bring your own computer area almost all day playing in the Football Manager esports tournament. If, and this is a big if, I make it through to the final 2, I'll also be there on Monday. But chances are I'm coming home Sunday night because
there's no school.
No, there's school holidays.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll be there those days. I'm also going to EGX Res in a couple of weeks as well. Friday the 13th of April, I'll be at EGX Res down in London. Sophie says, did you ever teach any autistic students? Yes, loads. I think the statistic, someone said it the other day, it might have even been Fathering Autism. We might be watching their Q&A. But isn't it like 1 in 45 kids have autism now? Is that the statistic they gave?
I think Andy was when Andy was diagnosed. I think that's when the starting of this is a. Do you know what I mean? Because 50 years ago, he would have been in an institution.
The general gist of where I was going, though, is if 1 in 45 kids have autism, and I taught in a school, my first school had 2,000 students, my most recent one had 1,000 students, an average class size is about 30 kids. If you teach 4 or 5 lessons a day, you're coming across at least 3 or 4 autistic kids over the course of the day. So yeah, loads. Couple more questions. Emma Louise says, how did we meet? I picked her out of a catalogue.
No, he didn't.
There's a video that we released over a year ago now that's got Anna on the thumbnail, and it says she only cost £75. It was a Q&A. Someone asked that question. We answered it there better than it would ever be answered.
To pay double.
Yeah, basically, I picked her out of an online catalogue. She claims it was eHarmony, internet dating. My view of it was I literally got a catalogue where I could just flick through. Just ugly. Every now and again, not bad. I'll read about her. Oh no, she likes strolls in the park. Move on. And then there was this nerd who wrote about in the question on eHarmony, and this is the big thing I remember about that. What books have you read? She wrote, well, I recently read the Dead Rising novelization.
Dead Island.
Oh, was it Dead Island? Some terrible video game that she'd gone out and bought the book of and read, and I thought, oh wow, she's such a nerd. Let's chat with this one. Such a nerd, such a nerdy loser.
It was all right book.
Right, this is going to be our last question. Actually, no, we'll do one after this because this is self-promotion. Cameron Down says, when is the Twitch stream? Right, it's 6 o'clock now. We've got to have dinner and then turn the PlayStation on. So realistically, I would say it'll be between 7 and 8, probably nearer 7:30 than either of those extremes, about 7:30-ish at twitch.tv/LollujoFM. If you haven't watched the first half from last night, this game is nuts and it's so much fun to play in co-op. We had a lot of fun playing that and we'll be doing that for most of the evening. So we can continue the conversation over there. If you haven't had your question read out now, by all means, come over to Twitch later. And although we're playing a game, we don't mind answering a few questions as we go. Right, let's do our proper last question then. This is from Hey It's Lambs. Does Andy know he's autistic? Has he realised that he acts differently from the girls and us?
No, I think to him we're weird.
Yeah, I think we're the ones who are a bit odd. I don't think he knows the word autistic. He's certainly not anything I've ever heard him say. He just, as far as he's concerned, he's right and the rest of the world is a bit off sometimes, which is the best way to, I mean, it's the way I've always looked at the world before I even knew autism was a thing. And that's something we haven't really touched on ever on the Q&A, on the channel. But until I met you, I mean, when you said, when we were first chatting on eHarmony and you said he had ASD, I had no idea what that meant. Not a clue.
I imagine you on your phone going,
yeah, I mean, I hadn't started my teacher training at that point. I'd like to think if I was a teacher already, then I would have known, but I had no idea what she meant. And even when I looked up autism, I didn't really know what that meant. That's one of the big motivations behind trying to raise autism awareness through the channel, because the fact that I was a 30-year-old man who considers himself quite worldly wise and intelligent, and I didn't know about this thing that so many people are affected by, that's mad.
But you have it.
Apparently I have it. I'm still a little bit skeptical about that test because
hold on, if I've said it, the girls have said it, your ex-wife has said it.
But to me, I don't know, perhaps I have got some traits, but if it's not holding me back, if it's not a disability, what's the point of putting a label on it? I might have some obsessive tendencies. I channel them into working super hard. Well, yeah, but you know, I've achieved a lot with my obsessions. It's worked well. David Beckham's got obsessive tendencies. He used to stay behind after training every day, taking free kicks for 2 hours on his own to get good at. Yeah, that's why he was the best free kick taker in the world. Because he used to, after everyone else went home, he'd just stand there with one of the youth team fetching balls for him, just taking free kicks for hours. Now, that's no more or less obsessive than some of the stuff that I do with the things that I get obsessed with. So he probably has traits as well, and it hasn't done him any harm either. That's why I'm keen to sort of push the message, not just of autism awareness, but of autism positivity, because I think there's so many aspects of autism that are incredibly positive that a lot of neurotypical people would benefit from putting into their lives.
I hate watching on TV when it's about autism because all they show is the bad side, and like, I know it weren't asked, but it really, really annoys me because he's not that. You know, like, what's his name? Theo. No, not Theo.
Don't know what you're talking about.
The guy with the glasses that looks like your brother. Jamie? I can't remember his name, but he did something about autism and he just showed like the real.
Oh, Louis Theroux.
Yeah.
Okay.
That just annoyed me. But I know no one asked that. But I put it out there. They show a bad image and we're trying to show it's not that bad.
Right, we are going to end things there for this evening. Thank you very much to everybody who's been part of this live Q&A. It is something we're going to try and do a little bit more often on the channel because I do enjoy the immediate sort of back and forth, and I think it allows us to get a little bit deeper into some subjects that you're really interested in, which is always good. And if you have enjoyed it, whether you're watching live or you're watching this on a replay later on the channel, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for us. It does make an enormous difference. And hopefully we'll see you over on Twitch in like an hour and a half to carry on playing that game and keep the conversation going over there. We'll be there most of the evening. The link is in the description. I think it's twitch.tv/LollujoFM. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you do that on your way out. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.